What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Pinfalls and Playbooks podcast, episode number 20, the Big 2-0. As always, I'm your host, Faiz Kabir, alongside my co-host, Farden Khan. And guys, we've been doing this for almost 5 months, and I don't want to speak for Farden, but for me, I've been saying this has been a great ride, and I'm just still excited to see how much more that we can come up with along down the line.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely been fun to talk about the things that we want to talk about, which is sports and wrestling. I know it's near and dear to our hearts, and I know we'll continue.
And not even just that, we're talking about whatever we want to talk about, especially sometimes.
It's been a blast, you know, especially covering like controversial topics, and it's going to continue to happen moving forward, for sure.
And in our opinion, this is probably one of the best ways to express ourselves and pretty much talk about exactly what we want to talk about, and we don't have to fear exactly talking in front of people or whatever it is and have the media outside and be the judge of us.
Right.
But in this week's episode, guys, we're going to do our typical sports recap, our wrestling recap, and we also have our Survivor Series predictions, which is coming up. It's shaping up to be a really big star-studded show. And guys, at the end of this episode, we're going to talk about the best things that we saw this week. Plus, it's Thanksgiving season, and we're going to talk about 3 things each of us are really grateful for this year. All right, guys, starting off, we're going to start with our sports recap, and we're going to jump right into our NFL recap. So first game on the docket we have is the Patriots versus the Bengals, and the Patriots won this game 26-20. This was a pretty ugly game on both sides of the field. I think the Patriots were a little frazzled on this, especially with the defense for the Bengals. And the Bengals defense have been decent throughout the season, but they kind of stepped up this game, especially with stopping the Patriots from getting into the end zone, that we've been doing really well at getting into the end zone. So the Bengals in this game, they actually took an early 10-0 lead, and it was a little like, whoa, what's going on here? Drake May threw a pick 6, and it was just did not look like what the Patriots were going to start off the season, how they started off the season, how they started off all their games. But the Patriots are a second half team, and we've seen that time and time again. Patriots came back storming back with Hunter Henry with a touchdown, and then Marcus Jones with a big pick 6.
Yeah, that was a very bad pass from Joe Flacco. He just literally sidearmed it as if like nobody else could pick it off. It's just kind of like a dumb pass from him, especially from Joe Flacco. Like, you know better.
Yeah, like Joe Flacco, you're seasoned at that point. Like, you
know how to throw the ball.
Exactly. Like, and in that whole like scenario, it was just easy for the Patriots defense to pick it up.
Right.
And especially when the second half took off, our defense stepped up. We kind of stopped them from really scoring. And however, the Patriots were really getting stopped at field goals. So we had 4 field goals in that second half and pretty much put the game away at that point. The Bengals did kind of come back with a touchdown to make it a little bit closer. But as always, the Patriots defense have been doing this all the time. They step up in the defense because Mike Vrabel has a really defensive-minded coach, as well as he's very disciplinary on their defensive side. But in this game, the Patriots didn't come away healthy. We lost a few players. Will Campbell, our biggest left tackle, or our number 1 draft pick, kind of got injured, and now he's been announced he's on IR. So let's see how that really plays out. He's not officially done for the season. I think he might be out.
He'll probably come back for the playoffs.
Probably for the playoff season. But in my opinion, for the Patriots, this one kind of made us feel like, all right, we're a for-real team. We can deal with injuries. We can play the dirty games, and we can still come out with the win.
I think what's interesting is that they have the easiest schedule, and they can lock up the 1 seed.
Exactly.
Assuming that the Colts and I believe the Broncos are also 9-2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
If they can win out, they'll be the 1 seed. They'll get time for Will Campbell to get healthy. And as far as the Bengals go, they're getting Joe Burrow back this season, or actually this week rather, tomorrow actually.
Yeah.
And the thing is with Joe Burrow is, I feel like they shouldn't bring him back because they're not in a position to make the playoffs. I believe they only have 3 wins. And I think the last couple of teams in the wild cards as it stands right now, they all got 6 wins. So it's going to be difficult for them. I guess, just to see how it is.
For sure.
Especially with Jamar Chase coming back now after there's 1 game suspension. They're going to have something to prove.
He's going to be excited with Joe Burrow
especially
coming
with
back.
against the matchup against the Ravens. It's a big divisional matchup. But it was a good win by the Pats. They showed the resiliency, and I guess it's just a matter of them moving forward, see how they could cope.
And it's interesting because we're going to talk about later on with the performances from the other top 3 teams in the NFL, in the AFC. The Patriots are still continuing to prove they're exactly
they're still number 1 right now.
They're still number 1 in my opinion in all across the boards because our defense and offense have been playing solid.
Yeah.
Next game on the docket we have is the Rams versus the Bucs.
Yeah, so I'll talk about the best team in the NFL in my opinion right now, which is the Los Angeles Rams. And we thought this would actually be a closer game than what people expected it to be. We had Baker Mayfield and the Bucs. They were coming off, I believe, a bad loss in the week before against the Bills.
Yeah.
And they needed to come out firing because the Panthers are hot on their trail in the NFC South. So they needed a much-needed win for this, but instead, it kind of just turned out to be a washing by the Rams. And this game was basically over at halftime. I believe it was like 24-7, and it just didn't play out. Baker Mayfield, he actually got hurt. and this is cause for concern because I believe he had a shoulder sprain, if I'm not
injury,
mistaken. I know he's questionable for this week, but it's kind of difficult to see that this Bucks team, when healthy, they have one of the best rosters on paper, and they just simply hasn't been healthy this whole season. As far as the Rams go, I'm saying they're the best team in the NFL right now. They've been playing lights out on defense, and their offense is just it looks basically unstoppable at this point.
Yeah, they're running the ball well. They're passing the ball. Matthew Stafford's looking like an MVP right now.
He has 30 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, and that's crazy to think about.
And the thing is, people did expect the Rams to be good, but I don't think they expected to be this well balanced on all sides of the ball.
Especially like knowing that in the offseason or leading up to the season, people are questioning the youth on that team, and they all took a step up. Kobe Durant, Jared Verse.
Right, for sure.
Not Jared Verse. Is it Jared Verse?
Jared Verse, yeah.
Jared Verse, yeah. They all took like that next level up. Obviously, they lost Aaron Donald.
Yep.
And people are going to be like, oh, this defense is not going to be as potent. But clearly, they've been the top 10 defense with arguably a top 2 offense. So if you have those things that balance out each other, you have potential to go deep into the playoffs, even to the Super Bowl.
Right. And for me, on the Bucks section, real quick, is just like, it's kind of exposed them. They're not ready for the bigger teams. They're not.
Not with this roster.
Not with that roster. Yeah. And the thing is, like, it sucks because Baker is going to have to be forced to deal with whatever he has. But in my opinion, this season's over for the Bucks.
Yeah.
They can't do anything with that offense.
I think they'll end up winning the NFC South, but they'll lose in the first round depending on who
I think they're going to get kicked out of the wild card if
especially if they play like the Cowboys.
Yeah.
You know, or potentially the Packers.
It sucks to say it, but because the Buccaneers did start off really hot, especially with all their weapons when they were healthy.
Yeah.
But they just ended up losing the weapons throughout the season, and that's pretty much a wash for their season right now. Next game on the docket we had was a big game for both sides.
This is actually
we had the Colts versus the Chiefs, and we had a classic Patrick Mahomes winning the game.
Yeah.
So the Colts started off on basically offensively and defensively picking off Patrick Mahomes and basically harassing him on all sides of the ball. But when it mattered most, the Chiefs did come back, and that's what they do because of their veteranness with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Rashee Rice actually making an impact in this game.
Yeah, when he's on the field, it just makes the Chiefs' offense look a lot better. Now, my problem with the Chiefs has been over the last few weeks is they barely have been utilizing Xavier Worthy, and he's the fastest player on the team. It's like, oh, he was going to be the next Tyreek Hill. Obviously, no one's going to be the next Tyreek Hill, but you give him that opportunity, those play calls, whether that's jet sweeps, deep route. They haven't been utilizing him properly. And
especially with Andy Reid's offense.
Exactly. Rashee Rice came back a few weeks ago, but it kind of should have opened up that door for Xavier Worthy to be a more prominent wide receiver. And obviously, they haven't been getting the ball to Hollywood Brown. But this game in particular, as the game progressed, they got better and better, and they got the ball to Rashee Rice. They got the ball to Travis Kelce. They actually ran the ball really well. Kareem Hunt had a big game, like a resurgence game for Kareem Hunt. But yeah, the Chiefs pulled out the victory, and they won on a game-winning field goal.
Right, but and let's talk about the Colts real quick. Yeah. So the Colts, they started off really hot this season, but right now they just been looking a regular team. They were looking very superhuman.
This is a hot take, but if you take away Jonathan Taylor from the Colts, they're not a good team.
For sure, and the thing is, like, it's obvious because their receivers, there's no number one on that team.
It's Michael Pittman he's
not a number one.
He's what I like to call like a super mid-caliber player. Like you can rely on him, but not like rely on him.
For sure. I mean? And the thing is, like, at the end of the day, your quarterback is Daniel Jones, and I guess he's obviously he's shown this season that he's competent, but you know, it's just like Daniel Jones has been looking like not what he's been looking like in the last few games.
Yeah, he can't really compete with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, you know.
Not even, like, let's see how it goes, because the thing is, like, every time he's been playing quarterbacks that are better than him, he's going to lose those matchups, I think.
Yeah, like, especially next week, which we'll touch upon later, against the Texans, arguably the best defense in the league.
Right.
You got to see how he does there.
And then I quickly want to talk about, because my prediction for last week was I thought the Chiefs were going to win this game because of the defense, and that's exactly what happened with Chris Jones stepping up on that defense, holding the team down, holding Jonathan Taylor to under 100 yards, even 50 yards, I think.
Yeah, so I was definitely wrong I picked the Colts last week.
I know, but I definitely thought that Chris Jones and that defense needed to step up, and Karlaftis and all those guys, they all stepped up. And that's exactly what the Chiefs needed. And the thing is, like, I know people hate to say it, but the Chiefs continue to do this thing every season.
They just got to be more consistent.
Where they be consistent, and the thing is that down the end of the season, who else do you want? Consistency-wise, it's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
He's going to be there. He's going to get you the wins. And if the defense also adds on to it, I don't see the Chiefs really really see the Chiefs losing if they continue to play like this. So let's see how it goes. Next game on the docket we have is the Eagles versus the Cowboys. I think probably the best game of the week.
So this was America's Game of the Week on Fox, and it kind of showed that it was what it was, America's
for
game
sure.
of the week. Now, the thing about this game, it started off really hot for the Eagles. They went on a they outscored the Cowboys 21-0 in the first half.
And we thought this was a wash.
And that's all they did. They got the ball to A.J. Brown, which everybody was questioning because A.J. Brown was been talking mad shit, saying, "Oh, don't start me in fantasy. I don't want to be here," basically.
It's probably a little trick he did.
I guess it's mind games. You could say that for sure.
He's always been a player like that.
And Jalen Hurts got on the ball. He got a touchdown in the first drive. I believe he had over 100 yards for the first time in like 10 weeks, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
And the thing about Saquon Barkley, he hasn't performed as well as he has last year. But yeah, the Eagles started off really hot. They jumped out 21-0, and then in the second half, the Cowboys decided to sit up like how you play video games, and they ended up coming back and scoring 21 unanswered points.
For sure. And the thing is, they were passing the ball like lights out, and every season we have this debate about Dak Prescott. Is he really that good? Is he a top 5 quarterback? What is he?
He's good. It's just when it matters the most, can he be there? And he actually was there.
And for sure, in this game, he proved it because Dak Prescott was delivering on-target balls exactly with tight spirals. And the thing is, he got better when the game played on, and usually that's the opposite with Dak Prescott. He gets worse when the game goes on.
And what's crazy is the Cowboys' defense in the second half, they got better, and that's why they held him down.
We could talk about the Cowboys off with 2 wide receivers, George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb.
George Pickens has kind of emerged as, obviously CeeDee Lamb missed a lot of games this season, but he's emerged as arguably the one as of right now, for sure. But they're the best wide receiver duo right now.
For sure. And then me and Farnon always have we've been having this off-camera topics about George Pickens all season long, honestly.
Yeah.
And I am a big George Pickens fan. He knows that because I knew that he had number one potential. But I knew that back in Pittsburgh. I just knew that he's not a fan of Mike Tomlin.
He had Mason Rudolph throw to him, Justin Fields,
I get
Russell
it, but
Wilson.
also he would have still been on that team, honestly, if he didn't have problems with Mike Tomlin.
That's true. That's true.
And George Pickens is one of those new millennial receivers where he's like, I want to do things my way. And when you come to a team like the Cowboys, it already feels like the Cowboys. You could do something where it's on your own.
Especially since all eyes are going to be on him.
Exactly.
And he's been producing.
And George Pickens is he's probably a top 3 receiver in yards this season.
Yeah, I think he's second behind JSN.
And good for George Pickens. I knew he needed to get out of Pittsburgh to show exactly the capabilities that he has, and he has been showing it. But we can talk about the end of this game where the Cowboys won this game on a game-winning field goal like you predicted.
Yeah, I predicted actually 2 games right this season. This was one of them. There was 2 fumbles by the Eagles late in the game. Saquon Barkley caught a ball, and he got the ball basically pinched out. And then Xavier Gipson, the former Jet, he was at like the 2 or 3 yard line with a punt. He could just he didn't let it go, let it go into the end zone.
Yeah.
But I guess that backfired him, and then he ran in, and then he lost the ball. He got a fumble, and he got hurt in the process. So that was like in my opinion, that was like a boneheaded play. That you can't make that mistake, especially how deep you are towards the goal line.
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets cut again.
I wouldn't be surprised either, especially now that he's hurt. You kind of just set yourself up for failure with that. That was not a smart move. But yeah, Brandon Aubrey, probably the best kicker in the game right now.
Sure.
Does what he does and ended up hitting the game-winning field goal.
And quickly, I want to talk about a clip that I saw about Quinnen Williams. I don't know if you've seen this clip too, but Quinnen Williams was talking with another defensive player on the Cowboys, where the Cowboys were like, all right, we just need to get past the 50.
Oh yeah, he could make I saw that.
And then Quinnen Williams was like, oh, Aubrey can hit like that?
Yeah.
And the entire Cowboys defense and team knew like, Brandon Aubrey can hit whatever he can
hit. You need to get to midfield, and you're already in range.
For Brandon Aubrey. And that's exactly what it was, and it showed out. So that's why the Cowboys won this game, and they're hot right now.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's see how that plays out. Last game on the docket we have was the Panthers versus the 49ers. And we had this on the docket because of how hot the Panthers have been playing.
And how hot the 49ers have been.
But in this
surprisingly.
But in this game, the Panthers showed exactly why they're not ready.
Yeah.
And it sucks to say that because I thought Bryce Young was going to have a really good game in this game, but it just didn't look like that. The offensive players for the 49ers all showed up. We had Brock Purdy delivering the ball to CMC, to George Kittle, and they were just effective on all sides of the field. We had CMC, who loves to have big games against his former team.
Yeah.
Because I think every time he played the Panthers, he always has a big game.
Yeah, it's crazy because when Brock Purdy, CMC, and George Kittle are all on the field, I believe in the last 2 or 3 years, they only lost maybe like 3 or 4 games, which is kind of crazy to think about.
And they also had a big game from Jawan Jennings,
That's true, too. And look out now, but here comes the 49ers, especially since they've been the top of the heap in the NFC the last few years.
And you know what sucks is I feel like they'd be so much better too, but they lost Fred Warner. If Fred Warner was there...
They lost Fred Warner. They lost, what's his name? The other linebacker. The one that tore his Achilles in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Dre Greenlaw? Was it Dre Greenlaw?
Was it Dre Greenlaw? I thought he's not playing. Oh, I guess he's hurt.
Yeah,
but Fred Warner, in my
And
opinion,
Nick Bosa.
Yeah, and in my opinion, Fred Warner is the best middle linebacker in the NFL. So
Definitely.
like he is your leader on defense, and you don't have him, and that's kind of like compromising to them. That's why they have this many losses right now. But the 49ers, if they continue to catch fire, especially with their coaching and the way that their offense plays, let's see how it goes for the 49ers. But that kind of sums up our NFL Week 12 recap. And we're going to jump right into our NFL Week 13 predictions. So first on the docket is we actually have a Thanksgiving game. And Thanksgiving is tomorrow, so we're going to be talking about this game, the Packers versus the Lions.
Yeah, this is the first game of Thanksgiving feast, and we all love Thanksgiving football. This is an interesting game because I believe they played in week 1, if I'm not mistaken, and the Packers completely just shut out the Lions. And we thought, like, oh my God, these guys are frauds. They lost both of their coordinators, and they have no chemistry and this and that. But turns out the Lions, they just needed some time to gel and mesh with the new offensive and defensive system.
For sure.
And they've definitely got better. I believe they only have 2 losses on the season, and they're 9-2, if I'm not mistaken. So, in my opinion, I think the Lions, they learned from their mistakes in the first game, and I feel like they're going to end up winning this game. I feel like they're going to have a big offensive explosion from Jahmyr Gibbs, who had a monster game last week against the Giants.
Yeah, crazy.
And he's continued to do that production, and I feel like they're going to win this game. It's going to be a 31-20 game type of game.
I'm going to actually roll with the Packers this game because I think the Packers have been not showing up at a lot of games. And for some reason, I feel like especially when they play like other matchups like the Lions, they have their number. And in this game, especially with Josh Jacobs returning, which is a big thing for the Packers because a lot of their playbook and a lot of their calls rely on Josh Jacobs getting the ball.
You know what it is about the Packers is they have a trash offense on paper.
Yeah.
And without Josh Jacobs, it's like, whoa.
It's just even worse.
Yeah,
So I think Jordan Love needs to have a big game, and it's because Jordan Love, he started off the season very well, and people thought, okay, the Packers can make some noise, but now it hasn't been looking like that at all. Jordan Love's been looking super mediocre, and I think with people like Josh Jacobs, who's there to help him out, it's going to make him better. And let's see how it goes.
Opens up the play-action passing.
For sure.
That, yeah.
And that's why I think I'm going to roll with the Packers this game. I'm going to say it's a little bit of a low-scoring game. I'm going to roll with a 24-17 type game for the Packers. Next game on the docket is probably the biggest Thanksgiving game I can think of in a long time.
Yes, this is crazy.
We have the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Dallas Cowboys.
This game's probably going to push 100 million viewers.
Especially at the timing of this because it's right around the 4 o'clock. A lot of people are going to be coming over to people's houses, starting to eat food, starting to cook, and you're going to have it on the background.
And the Cowboys are good. The Chiefs are good. So this kind of just feels like that Super Bowl caliber type of deal, you know.
It's going to be a really good game, in my opinion.
This is gonna be
and we're going to have
insane.
wide receivers probably on both sides with big numbers.
Yeah.
But I'm going to roll with the Cowboys. I'm going to roll with the Cowgirls, actually, in my opinion, because I think that they're going to win this game by playing very, very high-level football in terms of passing. I think there's going to be really no defense, like no running in this game, in my opinion, because Javonte Williams has been playing solid all season long, but with the defense stepping up from the Chiefs on stopping the ball, I think they're going to do a really good job at that. And obviously, I think the Chiefs running game, I think that was a one and done. I don't think it's going to happen again, in my opinion. But Patrick Mahomes, he's going to try to throw the ball, light it up, try to expose that Cowboys defense. And in my opinion, I think we're going to have big games from George Pickens again, CeeDee Lamb as well, and Travis Kelce. I think it's going to be high scoring on all sides. I'm going to roll with a 38-35 type game with the Cowboys winning this, with Brandon Aubrey hitting another game-winning field goal.
That would be crazy if it does.
Back to back.
But I agree with you. I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game, and I'm actually going to roll with the Cowboys as well. But in my opinion, I think the difference maker here is, especially watching the Colts game and how they attacked or pressured Mahomes. Now you have Quentin Williams, who's one of the best pass rushers in the league.
Yeah.
And he has something to prove, especially learning the new system, been playing really well the last couple of weeks for them. And I feel like he's going to make a difference. I think the Cowboys do win this game. We are going to see that big game from George Pickens again. CeeDee Lamb, if he can start catching the balls instead of dropping them, he'll have a big game. I think Dak Prescott might be pushing 400 yards, to be honest with you.
This is going to be crazy.
I also think that Patrick Mahomes might be pushing 400
yards. That's what I'm
yards
saying.
at this point.
I expected super high-level game.
Watch this. You ready for this? I'm going to say it's going to be a 44-38 type of game for the Cowboys. It's going to be a crazy game.
Everybody take the over.
Yeah, take the over. Take everybody for a touchdown at this point.
Yeah. Next game on the docket we have is the Texans versus the Colts. Now, we have the Texans who don't have C.J. Stroud.
Not yet.
Right. I don't think he's going to play this week either, in my opinion.
So?
I don't think he's going to get healthy for it. Because at that point, what is there to gain for him to play? The Texans are not really in the running, in my opinion. I don't think so. But I think the Texans...
They still want to keep pace with the Jaguars because the Jaguars are still 6-4 or
For sure.
7-4, whatever
But
they are.
I don't know. I just feel like, especially if CJ. So in my opinion, if CJ Stroud plays this game, it's a must-win for them.
Yeah.
And if CJ Stroud doesn't play, this is a loss for them, in my opinion. And I just think the Celts are gonna pretty much have a good. So obviously the Texans have a really good defense. I think they have a really good pass defense. I'm really suspect about their run defense, and you have probably Jonathan Taylor, who's the best running back in the NFL this year. Let's see how Jonathan Taylor can bounce back after a really kept game.
Yeah, especially against the best defense perhaps in the NFL.
Right, but I think that Jonathan Taylor, this is going to be a big game from him. I don't think there's going to be a lot of passing in this game, in my opinion, because Daniel Jones, if you want to be smart, I wouldn't throw it Derek Stingley's way. I wouldn't throw it the other corners' ways or the safeties. So I'm going to roll with the Colts with this game. I think it's going to be a little bit low scoring. I think it's going to be a 20-14 game.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Colts as well. I agree, Jonathan Taylor, especially since he had just had a very poor, not a Jonathan Taylor-esque game against the Chiefs. Probably goes over 100, a couple of touchdowns, maybe even 3 touchdowns like we were accustomed to it. But I agree it's going to be a lower scoring game. I'm going to roll with the Colts on this one. I'm going to say it's going to be 23-16 for the Colts.
Next game on the docket we have is the Bears versus the Eagles.
This is a Black Friday game.
Black Friday game. Both teams have the same record too.
Do they? They're both 8-3?
They're both 8-3. The Chicago Bears are quietly 8-3 that no one's talking about. And I think I talked about this before the season even started. I thought that Caleb Williams was going to have a big season. I thought the Bears were going to have a big season. And it's looking like it, but it's very quiet. Caleb Williams has been putting up numbers, low-key. No one's really talking about it. And the thing that sucks is his running backs aren't really helping him out. Like, Mungai has some good games. DeAndre Swift, for some reason, is not getting the ball as much. And when he does get the ball, he's getting stuffed every time. But Caleb Williams, he's delivering this ball to DJ Moore, to
Roman
Dunze, and even the tight end, Loveland. Like, he's winning these games. And I'm excited to see Caleb Williams play good because I know a lot of people didn't think he's going to be a good number 1 pick, but he's continuing to show it, in my opinion. So I'm going to roll with the Bears in this game. I think the Bears are going to continue this hot streak. It's going to be very tough because it's in Philly. But this is a game where Caleb Williams needs to play very well. And if he does and he beats the Eagles in this game, I think he pushes himself into maybe a top 5 MVP voting. Depends on the way he plays. Because the Bears, very quiet season for them, but I'm going to roll with them. I think it's going to be a 24-16 type game.
I think, you know how we always say that Brock Purdy is a product of the system. I feel like Caleb Williams is a product of Ben Johnson. The coach to show that Ben Johnson is a really good coach, no matter if he's the head coach or even offensive coordinator.
It's a little bit different for me in that sense because Caleb Williams is rolling out a lot. He's play creating.
Well, he didn't do that last season.
I know, but that's because he's getting forced to because of the defense pressure.
That's
true.
But
the way that he's actually operating around the ball.
And he has the arm talent.
He has the arm talent. He has the legs for it too.
Yeah. So I haven't been a Bears believer this whole season, especially with who they beat and how they beat them. And I'm not going to roll with them this game. I feel like the Eagles, I feel like they feel like they just got punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
And they got embarrassed against the Cowboys. Like, they didn't lose badly or anything, but it was a bad way to lose, you know? You lead 21-0. You barely do anything in the second half. And it comes to you, you know, as a team, as coaches, you got to tell your players, like, yo, did that really just happen for us? That's crazy to think about. And with that being said, I'm going to roll with the Eagles. And I feel like they exposed the Bears because the Eagles have a great defense. And this is the best team that Caleb Williams has been or is going to face this whole season thus far. So I know he played the Lions earlier, but this is a more complete team than the Lions.
Sure.
Obviously, the Lions, they haven't been healthy on defense.
Yep.
But the Eagles are healthy on all phases, special teams, defense, offense, and I'm going to roll with the Eagles, and I think they slap them around, to be honest. I think the Eagles win this game 31-13. I feel like we're going to get a big game for Devontae Smith. I feel like Saquon Barkley needs to finally goddamn show up for work. I don't know, man, but I think the Eagles win this game.
All right. And then the last game on the docket we have is obviously we're going to cover every team that the Patriots play, and this game, who knows? I think it's going to be a very interesting game because the Giants have been really competitive in their games.
I mean, listen, man, when you have Jameis Winston as a quarterback, it's fun to watch.
And we're talking about the Patriots versus the Giants. Obviously, a lot of storied history here in this game. The Patriots, Drake May, Mike Vrabel. I know he doesn't like the Giants for sure. So, obviously, I'm going to roll with the Patriots for this game. I think Drake May is going to have a solid game. But we don't have Will Campbell, so it's going to be a little bit tough, especially with the pass rushers that the Giants have with Thibodeau and with I forgot the other dude's name.
Brian Burns,
Dexy. Yes, Dexter Lawrence. It's going to be a little bit of struggle, I think. I don't think our run game is going to be as good Travion Henderson, he's been decent. He's been getting better as the season's been going along. And I think what kind of sucks is like we kind of don't have our our full receiving team back. So like once they do come back, it's going to be a different story. But I think this is going to be a dirty game. I do think the Patriots are going to pull this out, especially because of the history and everything that goes to it. When teams have history, the games are always a little bit more of a close game. But I do think the Patriots win this game. I think they're going to put up at least 28. I'm going to go with the 28-17 Pats.
28-17 Pats. You know what's crazy is, I just want to touch up on this real quick. If you look at all the Giants' losses or some of their losses this season, they were up like 15 plus points in like 5 of their 6 games.
The most prominent ones that Broncos game.
Like they were up 37-34 against the Cowboys. They lost the game. They were up that 32-19 with like 3 minutes left in the fourth against the Broncos. Last week against the Lions, they're up 27-17. They lost in overtime. It's crazy to think about the Giants could be in playoff position
for sure
if they had a more competent team. And they don't have the competent team on this one.
They don't have the coaching.
But that's also true because they did fire Brian Daboll. But with that being said, I'm going to roll with the Patriots on this one. But I do feel like because of how Drake May's been pressured this whole season with the pass rush, he's going to struggle a little bit more this game. I feel like they just do just enough. I feel like the kickers are going to be utilized a lot more for both teams. Yeah. So I'm going to roll with the Patriots. I think there's going to be a lot of field goals, maybe a touchdown or two for Travion Henderson, Stephon Diggs perhaps. So I'm going to say it's going to be 23-13 for the Patriots.
All right. And guys, that kind of wraps up our NFL recap for this week. We have a lot to talk about when getting into next week because we have big Thanksgiving games and we're getting closer and closer to the playoff season, guys. So I'm excited for it. I know you're excited for it, but that sums up our NFL recap for this week. All right, guys, now it's time to get into our NBA recap for this week. And first things first, I'm going to start off with my favorite 2 games that I saw for this week. And we're going to talk about the Miami Heat versus the Philadelphia 76ers. So Miami Heat won this game 127-117. And low-key, the Miami Heat has been playing really well.
And they just got Tyler Hero back.
And I was going to say that. So, like, they've been looking really solid in all times of game, all positions, especially with Tyler Hero coming back and Bam Adebayo. He's been looking like he's been progressing his game even more. I quickly want to talk about Eric Spoelstra. So, Eric Spoelstra has been, I don't know if it's like, I guess the Miami teams and basically the Miami Herald and all those, like, Miami outlets, they've been covering it, but not the NBA that much. And that's because Eric Spoelstra has been going through a lot of things. He got divorced, his house burned down, and when this stuff happens, Eric Spoelstra is one of these coaches that everybody's always talked about, that he's just dedicated to basketball, and he probably just locked into basketball even more, coaching these guys even harder. People probably say Eric Spoelstra is probably the hardest person to play for right now because of his coaching style and how long he's been doing it, and people always talk about the Miami Heat culture. So
it's the Filipino in him.
And he's pretty much putting these guys to work, and the thing is, we've been seeing it, the role players on this team have been stepping up, especially with the addition of Norman Powell, who's always been a bucket in my opinion. He's always been scoring at least 20 every time that he's been on the court, especially back when he was in LA too. And I think Norman Powell is perfect for this team to fill in, to get that buckets. He kind of filling into that Jimmy Butler role that they needed. Especially, I think Norman Powell is a better scorer than Jimmy Butler too.
Yeah, if they could get a decent point guard, they could definitely be up there in the Eastern Conference because it's still wide open.
For sure. And it's great to see like the Miami Heat actually play well because in my opinion, when the Miami Heat are competitive, it makes the East a lot more interesting.
Yeah, thank God they don't have Jimmy Butler, and I don't gotta hate them as much anymore.
But and then quickly I want to talk about the 76ers. So the 76ers, obviously they're being led by All-Star and MVP play for Maxey. But no matter how good Maxey plays, it doesn't matter because Joel Embiid is a bum. He's not, and the thing is, like, I keep saying this and I love telling him this because I know he started off the season thinking that Joel Embiid was going to be great. He's going to come back.
I picked him on fantasy too.
And the thing is, like, I knew that Joel Embiid, he had one of those seasons where it's like he hit his peak and after that, it's over.
He's like, he's a bum.
He's a bum now. Like, and the thing is, like, now, remember back then when they were having conversations, who's the better center, Embiid or Jokic? It's just like a joke now to even mention them in the same breath at this point. And it sucks to see it because they invested so much into Joel Embiid, but now you can obviously see it, especially with management, the way that it plays. The hands and the keys are all straight to Maxey at this point. And he's leading this team, and we'll see how it goes, especially with Maxey, with VJ Edgecombe, with Jared McCain. There's a lot of guards on that team. So you got to function that out, but the thing is, let's see how it goes. I think the Sixers, they're gonna hit the ceiling as much as they can because of how much they locked into.
Yeah, the team goes if Maxey goes, and
And in my opinion, he can't really do it by himself. He's not that type of caliber player to do it yet.
Well, they just got back Paul George, so...
That's another little bum. I don't know. There's a lot of bums on that team, actually. Quentin Grimes is another bum. Like, he kind of stole money from the Sixers, too. He had a couple good games and got it back, but... I don't know. The Sixers are just, they're not good, in my opinion.
They're the definition of dysfunction.
And they've been like that forever.
Yeah, that's true.
But next game on my docket I have is the Cavaliers versus the Raptors. And this game is mostly about the Raptors. Raptors, again, in my opinion, just like the Miami Heat, have been quietly having a good season. Their coach, I believe...
Darko?
His name is Darko. I know that. I don't know his last name.
Rajakovic.
Right, but from the videos I've been seeing, he's a player's coach. He's rattling this team. We have the emergence of Brandon Ingram, who's finally ready to ball because he's out of New Orleans. He's away from Zion Williamson. And now it's another bum I want to talk about later on. But there's a lot of bums being exposed this season, in my opinion. But Brandon Ingram, look at him on a different team, in a different country, playing much better. He was so good that he needed to go to a different country to level up. And Brandon Ingram, in my opinion, is playing like an all-star. So... I think the Raptors quietly have a really good season. They have a defense that's been holding them to really, really good defense. They held the Cavaliers to under 100 points. And Scotty Barnes looking pretty solid. B.I. looking solid. And with Barrett and Quickly adding to the team.
You know what I like about the Raptors is the fact that they have really good above average role players. A lot of teams don't have that, where they can rely on like various scores.
And they have size.
And they have size too. Jakob Poeltl, that guy Mamushvili, whatever his name
shooter.
Is. And so look out now. But the Raptors,
they're looking really good.
Looking good.
Then again, the Cavaliers, they didn't have all their whole team in this game as well. I do want to mention that because the Cavaliers have been looking actually really good as well. Donovan Mitchell's been playing really good. He always does this. He's always playing really good. It's just when the playoffs come, that's where the Cavaliers start to fade out. But in my opinion, I do think the Raptors, if they did get one more star, if they had another star to come to the city of Toronto.
They need a point guard. They need a better point guard that's not Emmanuel Quickley. I love Emmanuel Quickley. Yeah. He could get you the buckets and stuff like that, but he's not really known for his facility.
Okay. I want to issue a hot take, and I know that a lot of people have been talking about this, but I think I know a perfect player that would fit in Toronto.
Trae Young?
No, John Morant. Get him out of Memphis and put him in a new team.
Yo.
John Morant, I think he's just being like that because he just doesn't want to be in Memphis anymore. But John Morant is still a really good player. And you put him on that team with Toronto, that's going to be a squad right there that people can fear. Because guess what? John Morant leading a whole country? Let's see how it goes.
I mean, that point, yeah, I guess.
I do like that. So let's see how it goes. But hopefully they do make a trade because the Raptors do have pieces to give for it. But I hope they don't give up too much for it because their squad already is pretty decent. So it's going to be very hard to see how they do that trade. But let's see how the Raptors play out. And I'll let Farden go off with his favorite two games.
Yeah, so the first game I want to talk about is the Sacramento Bulls, a.k.a. the Sacramento Kings versus the Denver Nuggets. The reason why I'm saying it's the Sacramento Bulls, they have DeMar DeRozan, they have Zach LaVine. It's literally this Bulls team just on the West Coast. And what's crazy about this game was the Kings, they were on I believe like almost a damn near 10-game losing streak. And they have really good players.
And people
on the
thought
team.
they were going to be better this year.
Yeah, they have DeMar DeRozan, they have Zach LaVine, they have Keegan Murray, they have Domantas Sabonis. But the thing about Sabonis is he hasn't been healthy to start off the season. Somehow we had a resurgence of Russell Westbrook. Dennis Schroeder's been playing well. And they need a much desperate win. And they
God, I forgot Schroeder's on that team too.
There's a lot of characters.
There's good players on that team.
There's a lot of players on this team. It's crazy to think about. And they need a much-needed win for this, and they showed out against the Denver Nuggets. We know that Jokic, he's going to do Jokic things. He's going to drop a random, like, not even random. It's basically a given that this guy's going to drop a triple-double. He'll probably drop a triple-double in the first quarter at this point, you know. But the Kings, they played well for this game. I believe Jamal Murray had a big game. Nikola Jokic had a big game. But the whole overall aspect of the Sacramento Kings, they played really well, and they actually kept the game close, and they ended up pulling out the victory. And I'm happy for them because they have good players. They just need to play better. Like Zach LaVine, he could get you 20, 25 points.
Who's the coach for Sacramento? I don't even know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
They let go of Mike Brown. And
yeah. It's probably a new coach.
It's definitely. But Nikola Jokic, he's the best player in the world. I don't care what anybody says. He's better than SGA. He does everything better in terms of like an overall offensive game. He's not as good as a defender. Obviously, he's a center in two different positions, but at the end of the day, he's still the best player in the world. The second game on the docket is the Knicks and Faz's Dallas Mavericks. Now, the Knicks are the Knicks. They do what the Knicks do. Jalen Brunson, if he goes, the team goes. Karl Anthony Towns, if he does well, the Knicks are an even better team. And this game, it was surprising because the Dallas Mavericks, they played really well against this team. And this was the first game that Cooper Flagg missed because I believe he had an illness, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But they had big games from Najee Marshall, D'Angelo Russell. But the Mavericks, they don't have Anthony Davis at the moment. Obviously, Kyrie Irving, we don't know when he's going to come back. But this was a surprising game, in my opinion, because they kept it real close and they almost won the game. I believe Max Christie, he went up for a layup, but he was called for an offensive foul. And they called it very late. It was very late, too.
I didn't like that call, but in my opinion, I don't know if you heard about that. There's been some rumblings between these two teams on trade talks.
The Knicks and Mavericks?
Yeah, so what I've been hearing recently, especially with Knicks Studios and like Knicks like media, especially with Dallas media, is Anthony Davis is on the trading block. And people have been talking about this, and especially the Mavericks, because the Mavericks the story is that the Mavericks never really won an AD. And the story is right now is the Knicks feel like that if they have a solid big man defender who can also score, they will be much better. And there's talks about Karl Anthony Towns being traded for Anthony Davis. And I don't know why would the Knicks would do that, but if that trade happens, that's going to be very interesting because you're going to let go a lot of offense for a very flimsy defense and offense because of the injury prone of Anthony Davis. And for me, in my opinion, we'll take it. I'll take Cat, no problem. Because give me Cat over Anthony Davis.
At least he fucking plays.
At least he plays. And I know, I don't care what anybody says. When Anthony Davis is healthy, he's a top 10 player. When he's healthy, he's a top 10. He's a damn top 10 player because he does everything on offense. He does everything on defense. He can do it all.
He's probably the best two-way big man in the league.
I think so when he's healthy.
Yeah.
But he's just not healthy, and it sucks to see it. And the thing is, it sucks to remind me that he's reminding me of Amari Stoudemire right now. And I hate Amari Stoudemire.
That guy's knees are shot.
I hate Amari Stoudemire so much. You know this. I hate Amari for a long time. But I don't want Anthony Davis to become like that. But if this trade or something like this is in the talks, let's see how it goes.
You know what he's got to do? He's got to come to Boston because we have no goddamn big man that can rebound. My man Jalen Duren had 20 rebounds just now against us, and we have no offensive rebounding. We have no defensive rebounding. If Anthony Davis, if we decide to get healthy, my man, please come to Boston.
Hey, and Dallas, if you want to take some weapons, give us Derek White. We'll take it.
I don't know about that.
But that kind of sums up our NBA recap for this week. We'll talk about next week where we're going to recap some Cup games. And we have a lot to talk about, especially getting closer to the Cup games, right? Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. The NBA season continues to prolong, and we'll talk about it here, and we'll cover it all here. All right, guys, now it's time for our wrestling recap for this week. And it's a big week in wrestling because we have one of the big top 4 shows of the year. We have Survivor Series on deck. But first things first, we're going to start off with our Raw recap. Raw was a star-studded show because we have a lot of people pretty much building towards Survivor Series. It's the go-home show at this point. Roman Reigns kicked off the show pretty much as soon as he started to speak. He got interrupted by Cody Rhodes, and we're like, oh shoot, interesting, because everybody knows the history between these two. Main evented 2 WrestleManias. Probably had one of the greatest matches of all time with that super trifecta Avengers level game.
Yeah.
But Roman Reigns came out, followed by CM Punk, and these guys were pretty much trying to. It was pretty much what Roman Reigns said. He was like, "Who's trying to show who got the longer pick at this point?" Because Roman Reigns pretty much was like, at this point, took a backseat, letting these two guys fight over who wants to be captain. But Roman Reigns did make an interesting point at the end of this promo, talking about this title looks good on me. So we'll see how it goes going into WrestleMania season. And there's a lot of talks have been behind the scenes and in a lot of wrestling outlets that people are saying that after the Survivor Series, the WrestleMania plans are going to be set. And that makes me...
It starts going in motion.
Yeah, basically. And people are saying that it's going to be very clear at the end of this show that what the WrestleMania match is.
What's after Survivor Series?
Royal Rumble.
Oh, there's nothing?
There's nothing. The John Cena's...
that's different.
But the Royal Rumble's next. So... I think it's going to be a very interesting show, especially with Roman Reigns making that comment. But that's pretty much what happened.
It's long-term storytelling.
Long-term storytelling, but it pretty much led to the Vision interrupting and just same old shtick. So they're pretty much building to the main event, which was basically whoever gets the War Games advantage match. But next up we had Gunther versus Carmelo Hayes in the semifinal matchup for the Last Time Is Now tournament. Going into this match,
this was semifinal or quarterfinals?
Quarterfinal. And this is pretty much, everybody knew Gunther was going to win this match, but we wanted to see how Carmelo Hayes can do in this.
And he did really well.
And these two put on the second best match, in my opinion, of the tournament, because the first match, Gunther and Javon, I think was a better match. But this one was right behind it. And Carmelo Hayes, He had a lot of big time spots where he was trying to pick up the win and basically beat the big terror in Gunther.
Yeah.
But Gunther delivered the chops, delivered the nasty power bombs picked up the W at this point. And Carmelo Hayes, good for him, continues to get that start.
And he's been getting that face appeal by the fans, which is good for him.
I think his role is a face. I don't think he's gonna be as good heel because like obviously he could probably play it because of his douchey like attitude and look. He's done it in NXT, but I think because of his size and because of his character, he could be a good face.
You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of like a solo Montez Ford, in my opinion.
Yeah, but Montez Ford's going to be stuck in that damn tag team.
No, I understand, but like based on the character and what he does, like how his wrestling capabilities are, I feel like he fits in just fine with like that caliber of wrestling.
And Gunther moves on, which everyone kind of expected. Next up, we had a quick little backstage segment between Roman, Cody, and CM Punk, pretty much arguing again and just be like trying to get on the same page at this point. Then we had the Usos come back, and we had a classic Usos promo, pretty much talking about how you guys are just talking about who's better, who's all this.
You gotta focus on tonight.
Focus on tonight. We want to pick up the W. The Usos think that they're one of the best tag teams of all time. I think they are one of the top all time.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I told Farden during the show, Usos are just so much better together. Yeah, these guys are just maybe it plays on nostalgia too, but
it gels well when they're together.
And they're twins. It's just, it just expects them to do really well. And next up we had was a pretty interesting throwback segment. This kind of reminded me back in like the early 2000s segment because I don't know if you remember this. We had a lot of like funny segments like this back in the early days.
I know.
And Triple H kind of did a throwback because he was obviously active during that time. He probably found this stuff really funny. But we had Dominic Mysterio come out to the ring and he pretty much teased everybody by calling out John Cena. And John Cena's music hit. The entire crowd erupted. And once we saw who came out, we saw mini John Cena with his mini cameraman Stu.
The fact that they got a mini Stu was hilarious.
And the hilarious part is they had a cameraman cameraing Stu, cameraing him. And I was like, this is just comical at this point.
Recording Stu, recording John Cena.
And pretty much I believe that Dom pretty much had like a little pre-planned segment with this mini John Cena. He'd be like, oh, I'm going to beat you down or I'm going to like talk down to you. But it looked like mini John Cena kind of said, F you, I'm going to do my own thing. And Dominic Mysterio just kicked him down. It was disgusting the way he kicked him. And I was like, this is kind of reminding me of the old 2000s where I know for sure we had a lot of mini midget segments back then. And Dom Mysterio laid it onto him. He hit a big frog splash on him and just crushed him. And the funny thing is, in my opinion, why did Rey Mysterio come out after he got his ass beat? Why did Rey not come out like right before he's about to... What I thought was going to happen is Dom's going to go up to the top rope, do like the Eddie Guerrero shimmy, and then we hear Rey's music.
Yeah.
No, Dom Mysterio hit the move, and then Rey wanted to come out, which was hilarious to me. But that led right into Rey Mysterio versus JD McDonough. JD McDonough's been on a roll, actually. He's been performing really well. He's been getting a lot of star power and a lot of star shine because of, obviously, John Cena gave him a lot of props. Now's a fun fact, who was the last person that John Cena pinned on Raw? JD McDonough. And then he had another matchup on SmackDown with Ilya Dragunov. That was a really good match as well. And then led to Rey Mysterio, who had another good match. Like, Rey Mysterio is still looking like he could still go.
Rey Mysterio.
And I don't know if you saw this, but there was a segment, or I believe like a story where Bret Hart, he called Rey Mysterio probably one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, which is very interesting coming from Bret Hart.
I mean, he's probably the best luchador of all time.
No question he's the best luchador or Mexican wrestler of all time, but Rey Mysterio quietly could have a little silent run where he's like, all right, how long does he continue to do this at this level?
Yeah.
It's like, it's got to start getting questioned at this point. But next up on the docket we had was the next round of the matchups on the last time is now, which is Penta versus Solo Sikoa.
Yeah, this match didn't really plan out the way that people wanted to. Penta got hurt
in the first 5 minutes of the match.
Yeah, he went up he did a hurricanrana
off the
barricade, and I believe he landed on his shoulder.
Yeah.
So it's looking like either a potential broken collarbone, a separated shoulder, whatever it is. But in this region over here, he definitely hurt.
And they went to commercial, come back from commercial, Solo Sikoa standing in the ring, and they called the match off.
Yeah, you could see the concern on their faces too.
Yeah, and it was obvious that Solo Sikoa was really pissed off because like obviously somebody got hurt under his like match, and that's never, no wrestler ever wants to like talk about that or even want to deal with that. But some fan actually said something to him like when he was leaving the ring that like pissed Solo Sikoa off. He like on camera he basically said like F you and shut the fuck up. Like he was really pissed off. But it led to now a weird matchup between Solo Sikoa and Gunther. this is gonna be weird.
It's an anti-hero versus a heel.
And the crazy thing is, there's been reports about how Solo Sikoa is gonna actually win this match. Apparently.
I mean, if he gets the MFTs involved, then why wouldn't he win?
Right. So
why shouldn't he?
Why shouldn't he win if Tala Tonga's just standing right there? But I don't know. In my opinion, I think this is obviously going to be a Gunther win. But like,
I mean, at this point, it's not a bad matchup. I think it's a much better matchup than what.
I'll tell you one thing: Gunther's probably going to give Solo Sikoa his best match ever.
I agree. Yeah.
Because of how good Gunther just is, and I think Solo Sikoa, he never really had a big match where he's just been like the main, like a very technically sound match. I can't really think of a Solo Sikoa match where it's technically sound, great ring work, and with Gunther, you already know he can deliver that stuff. So that's going to be a very interesting matchup.
That's what, Friday or next week?
I think that's next week, Monday.
Oh,
so
okay.
let's see how that goes. And then that kind of led right into our main event. Well, we did have a segment between all the women, and that was just pretty much a mosh pit of a brawl and just leading right into it. But we're going to talk about that in our predictions. But the main event was Drew McIntyre with Logan Paul, who was actually wrestling on Raw, versus the Usos. Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre, this is not new to them. They teamed up together at SummerSlam against Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. And they did pick up a W, so they are 1-0. And actually, at the end of this match, they became 2-0.
Yeah.
Because Logan Paul picked up the W with a lot of commotion going on.
Yeah, he snuck in a victory on a roll-up.
And it was pretty much what we all thought was going to happen. It was going to be a big duel and a big stand down between the face team versus the heel teams. And it led to Roman Reigns coming out, pretty much
Superman
punching.
Yeah.
But before that, we obviously had CM Punk, we had Cody Rhodes, just all getting into a huge fight. And then we had probably the funniest segment, which was Brock Lesnar finally making his way to the ring. So Brock Lesnar, obviously he gets a lot of pyro when he comes out. He does his big Brock-like roar. And in this segment, it's so funny that the two times we've seen Brock Lesnar, he ripped his pants. And now he fell down on the roll. He did a whole tumble, but he was clean with it. He rolled right through and got right back up.
Put the hat on Braun Breaker.
And pretty much laughed it off. And that's all you could do at this point.
All you saw was Paul Heyman just looking at him like, what the hell just happened?
And Paul Heyman started laughing. Like, that's all you can do at that point. Like, Brock Lesnar's made, obviously. Like, Brock Lesnar is Brock Lesnar. So whatever he does, people are going to laugh at it and then move right on because it's just who he is.
Yeah.
And this pretty much leads right to the War Games matchup. And we're going to talk about exactly what we think is going to happen on the show. So we're going to go right into our Survivor Series predictions. Survivor Series is this Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern. And this is only a 4-match card, which means that, in my opinion, and I think that these War Games matches are going to be very long.
Could be up to an hour each.
Each of them. So let's talk about, before we get into the War Games, we'll talk about 2 other matches that are on this card. Number 1 we have is John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio for the IC title. And now there's been rumors and there's been talks, especially with Paul Heyman, who's been doing media, saying that this is going to be John Cena's best performance in Survivor Series history. He thinks, and that's true because if you think about it, John Cena doesn't really have really prominent matches in Survivor Series histories.
I mean, most of the time it's always
he's always doing traditional matches.
Obviously, when younger, it was the traditional matches.
The only big match I can think of off the top of my head for John Cena's Survivor Series match was that big triple threat where he had against Shawn Michaels and Triple H.
Oh, the one where it's Michaels super
kick Triple H to start off the match. That was a good match at that time, and that was the biggest match I think he had in Survivor Series because he's not really known for Survivor Series. But in my opinion, this is going to be a big match, especially for Dominic Mysterio versus John Cena. I think John Cena is going to give Dominic Mysterio a really good match. I think these two are going to click really well together because on Raw, we got a taste of what they can do. Now they're on the show. I think this match is going to go at least 10 to 15 minutes. And I'm going to roll with Dominic Mysterio actually picking up the win and getting the title back over John Cena. I don't see John Cena winning his last 2 matches, in my opinion, because John Cena just reminds me of these people, of the old school style, where they rather lose on their way out and to give rub to the other guys. And he got the big moment already. He got the IC title. There's no reason for him to go into the tournament with the title because whoever we think is going to win it, obviously Gunther, in my opinion. I don't know about you, but I do think Gunther's going to win that tournament. Gunther don't need the IC title anymore. He's better than that. He's over it.
Yeah.
That's why I do think that John Cena is going to lose it to Dominic Mysterio.
I mean, when you put it like that, I see it, especially since it's in Dom's hometown.
Yeah.
I think he wins too, and it's going to be a little bit interesting to see because.
And I do before you go, I want to quickly say something else before you finish off with your prediction. And obviously, I don't think it's going to be clean because, it's Dominic Mysterio's Dirty Dom. But I do think he's going to pick up this W with the return of Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan's going to come back and cost John Cena this match.
Is she expected to be on the show?
She's healthy, apparently.
Okay.
So if Liv Morgan comes back, this is a perfect way to bring her back.
I mean, that could set up something with the women's War Games match, which we'll discuss. But yeah, I think Dominic Mysterio wins this title. I don't know if John Cena goes out a loser, in my opinion, because obviously we saw The Undertaker technically retire when he lost to Roman Reigns. He came back, fought John Cena, and he won that match. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Undertaker lost on his... Well, he won on his way out, actually. He beat AJ Styles.
Yeah. So I feel like whoever he versus, whether if it's Gunther, whether if it's Solo Sikoa somehow, whoever LA Knight's supposed to be fighting, LA Knight, you know, I feel like they don't make him go out a loser the way that people don't want him to, you know what I mean? But in this case, I do think he does lose this title because, like you said, whoever wins... Unless if it's not Gunther, I can see somebody else holding the title, you know what I mean?
It depends, but like the thing is, like, you would want to give it to a younger guy.
In my opinion, if John Cena wins this match, Gunther's not winning the last time in that tournament, in my opinion. If you think about it.
Okay.
But if Dominic wins, then okay, well, it's open to discussion. But yeah, I think Dominic Mysterio wins this title.
Okay. Next up on the docket we have is a women's match that doesn't really have much build to it, but they just got to get it on the card.
I'm going to just say Stephanie Vaquero's going to win this match. I don't need to go into detail about this. What you mean?
I got a crazy prediction.
If you say Nikki Bella, I'm walking out right now.
I think that if we have no interference, then Stephanie wins this if it's a one-on-one. I don't think so. I think we're going to get a little bit of twin magic. I think we're going to have Brie Bella come back and do a classic twin switcheroo matchup where obviously, you know, we've seen this before in the past where these girls obviously do this thing where they pin someone else and it's not the right person, and let's see how it plays out. But if WWE really wants to shock people and let people talk, you bring back twin magic. It was a big thing when it was hyped then. It could be a big thing now, and I wouldn't be surprised on a stadium show like this if you want to do something to shock people, because in my opinion, I think a lot of these matches are predictable. This one, if they really want to shock people, make it unpredictable. And you bring back Brie Bella, and you do a little twin magic, and I think Nikki Bella wins the title.
I don't know, man. I'm going to roll with Stephanie Vaquero on this one. Like, I can't think about it like that, man. She's had a really good title reign, and I don't want her to just lose it because of some twin magic, in my opinion. You know?
But, guys, I don't know. Could happen, maybe not, but you never know with the WWE. Yeah. Next up we have is, for part one of our War Games matchup is the women's. So we have, let's talk about it. We have AJ Lee, who's new. We have Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky. And versus Becky Lynch versus Lash Legend, Nia Jax, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. In my opinion, this is probably the biggest War Games match they could have made with the women, especially if they don't want to involve other people, but like especially the title contenders. Like, you can't really involve them. But I think, in my opinion, this is going to be a big match. I think these women are going to have a really good match as well because of the people involved. And I'm going to roll with the women's... I think the women's face team is going to win this, in my opinion. I think it's just because they have too many stars on that team with Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and AJ Lee. Those are the three big stars. And I think that it's going to be a long match. I think it's going to go at least 40 minutes, 45 minutes. But AJ Lee, I think she needs to get on the screen a lot more. And if they're going to do it in a limited time and limited positions, this is where she could probably pick up the win.
I think she comes out last.
Probably, yeah.
Like, they're going to send Becky in.
I can see... Well, no, if Becky's in, then why wouldn't AJ Lee
go
in?
No, what I'm saying is... They're probably gonna. They're gonna be the last two. Yeah, they're gonna be the last two.
Yeah, I can.
I'm gonna roll with the face team as well.
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion, it all's gonna depend on if Charlotte and Rhea Ripley get along.
Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting story to see if people do have
But Charlotte, I must say, like I know I was telling you earlier, that there's some potential surprises, like how you said with the twin magic potentially. I wonder if Io Sky goes heel.
Oh, and switches over?
Switches over with the Kabuki
Warriors. Yeah, people always have been talking about that part.
It's not impossible, but then again, like...
But she has been feuding with them, pretty bad. So
but it all makes sense if the face team doesn't win, and maybe that's the reason why they don't win, in my opinion. But overall, if you just look at it from a competitive standpoint, the face team has more to gain from this than the heel team. Obviously, we know it's going to be the introduction to Lash Legend's career, in terms of
for sure. She's going to have a big showing
with it. So I'm going to roll with the face team as well. And maybe there's somebody comes, maybe Liv Morgan comes back for this one somehow. Shocks people like how CM Punk came back in the War Games a few years ago.
Right.
Maybe there's other people that, I don't know, man. It can go any way for the women's. Like, there's so many things that can be, like, set up for this, especially now that this is going to be the last show until Royal Rumble. It's long-term storytelling. We don't know what's going to happen for them.
For sure. There's gonna be like that's why people have been saying like this show at the end of this show is gonna set up a lot of WrestleMania destinations because you need to start building, especially with how close you're getting to WrestleMania season again.
Yeah.
It's crazy how close we're getting again. But let's talk about the main event, the men's War Games match, probably the biggest star-studded men's War Games match ever.
Yeah.
We have Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and the Usos versus Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, and Brock Lesnar. This is Brock Lesnar's first War Games match.
This is a very testosterone-filled match.
There's a lot of testosterone in this
meat.
match. A lot of meat. And I think that first things first, I'm going to talk about who I think is going to be last. Obviously, I think Brock Lesnar is going to be last on the heel team, and I think Roman Reigns is going to be last. I think you just save those two for the end. But let's see. This is going to be interesting because I don't think that you expect one of the Usos to start, but I don't know. I don't think Jey Uso can go that long.
I think Jimmy starts with Logan Paul.
You think Logan Paul's going to start?
I think Logan Paul's going to start.
Okay, I was going to go with Bronson Reed, but
just look at the size of that guy.
Right, but Logan Paul, because of still people talk about his inexperience and stuff. Because
here's how I think it's going to go. I think it's going to be Jimmy, Logan, then I think Logan.
So it could be Drew.
It could be Drew next, potentially
Cody.
Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
Then I would say probably Cody Rhodes.
I think we're going to get Cody Rhodes early, in my opinion.
Cody Rhodes, then probably Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, one of the two.
Then Punk.
Yeah. Then, well, who else am I missing?
You have Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree that Roman and Brock, they're definitely going to be the last.
So I think this match is going to go very close to an hour, at least.
It has to.
It has to because of all the stars and everybody involved. I'm going to roll with the heel team.
Okay.
So I'm going to roll with the heel team because they've been teasing a lot of dissension between Roman Reigns and the Usos. I think this has to play a factor into it because I don't know. Let's see. Do the Usos turn on Roman Reigns and make this very interesting with the a heel Usos versus Roman Reigns needing the help of CM Punk or something or Cody Rhodes? I don't know how it's going to go, but I think this is going to be a lot different than most people expect because a lot of people are going to expect the face team to just win because of how many stars that they have. But like people are saying, I feel like there's going to be a lot of storylines playing out in this matchup where it's going to be set for who's going to be facing who going forward. And I'm going to roll with the heel team. I think it's going to be won by Braun Breaker. I think Braun Breaker is going to pick up the W. Brock Lesnar, I don't know how much he's going to really do in this match, in my opinion. Maybe he could start a feud with somebody on the face team where it's going to be something for him to do going into WrestleMania season because obviously he's going to be at WrestleMania. He's on all the damn advertisements and everything. So let's see how it goes. But I'm picking Braun Breaker to pick up the W for the heel team.
Okay, so I'm going to roll with the heel team as well. But I'm going to give you my predictions of what's going to happen. And I'm not saying this to sound crazy or anything, but I just feel like if I were writing this is how I would do it. I would say I think Cody Rhodes goes heel somehow, somewhere.
In this match?
In this match.
Okay.
I think he hits CM Punk potentially. He hits Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso. I don't think he hits Roman. And the reason why I say is because I feel like they're going to have a trilogy at WrestleMania.
Oh my God, I don't want to see it.
I think so. I think it's going to be a face Roman versus a heel Cody, in my opinion. And
I feel like they ended it so well. Why would you bring it up again?
But why not? It's good for the business.
I feel like there's more story to Roman and Jey and the Usos there. There's never been an end. And think about it this way. The bloodline story all started with Roman and Jey. It all started with those two facing each other in the Hell in a Cell match.
That's true.
It all started. There has to be an end to it.
But I feel like Cody goes heel in this somehow. I also do think that there's going to be another surprise. I feel like Braun and Brock Lesnar, they clash, they butt heads.
Okay.
And that leads to their...
Too much testosterone. Who wants to lead?
Yeah, that's going to lead to probably a potential WrestleMania matchup between the two. You never know. Maybe they get tangled up in the Royal Rumble. That just leads to it. It builds off of it.
For sure.
And I think that the heel team wins. I think that Logan Paul, he actually picks up the victory on this one. I feel like he ends up pinning potentially CM Punk. He's the last one in the ring. And yeah, but this is going to turn out to be one of the best War Games.
I think it has the potential to be one of the best ever.
Yeah.
And that pretty much sums up our Survivor Series card. It's going to be it's going to be short matches. It's only 4 matches, but I think it's going to be a lot of story, a lot of content in these matches. And it's all going to build towards the big show of the year, which is right into Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble is probably the second biggest show, in my opinion, of the year. Yeah. And we'll see how it goes because it's going to be big story. I'm still talking about that Sami Zayn storyline that's still playing in the background in Saudi Arabia. It's going to be there. It's got to be. He's got to play a factor into it. And especially if it picks up with the Usos and Roman tension, there's Sami Zayn waiting right there in the wings for it.
I don't know. We'll talk about that if that happens.
And oh my God, I just thought of something real quick. What if my prediction of the Usos going heel on Roman Reigns and Roman reaches out to Sami Zayn for help?
Oh my
Boy,
God.
that tag team match would be crazy. At Royal Rumble, that'd be an interesting tag team match. Because obviously Roman Reigns never wanted Sami Zayn, and obviously Sami Zayn turned on him. That's the one you got to turn to, maybe to bring him back. So let's see how it goes. But kind of sums up our Survivor Series predictions for this week. All right, guys, now it's time to the end of our show where we're going to talk about our best things that we saw this week. And I'll let Farden go first with his.
Yeah, so the Cowboys, they actually, because of what they endured this last couple of weeks with the loss of Marshawn Kneeland, they won their first game coming off their bye, and he obviously lost his life during the bye. This was a great win for the team because this is their first home game. Every fan was thinking about him, and it was crazy because they were down 21-0.
And he was a promising player, right?
Yeah, for sure. He was a good defensive player, good special teams player, and the team just overall rallied around them, and they did it for him. Like, obviously they played the Raiders, and that was basically a throwaway game. Like, you expected the Cowboys to win that game, but coming home, especially with the addition of Quinnen Williams, playing how they did, the rise of George Pickens, the return of CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott's been looking like an MVP candidate. This was such a great win, especially seeing at the end of the game they were waving his flags, all the fans. They felt that sense of urgency. And
you got Jerry Jones who's happy.
And he's happy, yo. It's crazy to see. Like, you see him dancing with Quinnen Williams whenever he gets a sack. And I'm happy for the Cowboys. It's like, yo, you don't have to talk shit about them all the time, people. Stephen A. Smith, all of these guys. Like, give them a break. Like, yeah, we get it. When it comes to playoff time, they don't show up. We expect them not to show up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But let them have their moment, especially with this situation going on, coming back home after the loss of Marshawn Kneeland. It was good for them, and that was probably the best thing that I saw this week.
All right, and then for me, the best thing I saw this week, I'm going to talk about the NBA real quick. I'm going to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers, people always been talking about how the Lakers don't have enough or what are they going to be able to do, but in my opinion, it's just making our trade from the Dallas Mavericks to the Lakers just look even more stupid. And that's why I think it's the best thing this week. Luka Doncic is playing like an MVP.
LeBron James came back.
AR's been playing like a top, second option on the NBA team. Like, these guys both just had 30, basically almost 30. Luka Doncic with the 13 assists, like it's nothing. And it's just sad to see, in my opinion, for the Dallas Mavericks, how much we're losing out. But the best thing I have seen is just Luka Doncic just torching all these damn teams. And he's just doing it all the time where he's playing at his own pace. He's doing whatever he wants with the ball. LeBron James is now kind of the third option on that team, which is crazy to think about. But let Luka run with this damn team and let's see how far the Lakers can go. I think Luka Doncic is the lead front runner, in my opinion, for MVP.
Yeah, they basically just handed the keys to the franchise to Luka after they acquired him.
And look what everybody talked about. What happens when he actually gets in shape?
Yeah.
He's in shape and he's an MVP caliber. And that's the best thing that I've seen this week. All right, guys. Now, with Thanksgiving literally being tomorrow, we're going to talk about 3 things that we're each really grateful for this year. And I'll let Farden go off first.
Yeah, so the first thing that I want to touch upon that I'm thankful for is food, friends, and family, the 3 Fs. Food, because it's food. How can you not love food? You have so many different options on the Thanksgiving table, whether it's turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy, cranberry sauce. You have the traditional American dishes, but obviously we're Bengali, so we have more like the Indian style dishes.
Chicken roast. Biryani, whatever it could be. A lot of stuff.
I'm making stuffed mushrooms tomorrow for Thanksgiving, and I hope it comes out really good. But food is one. Friends, obviously me and him, we're best friends, and I'm sure a lot of you have your best friends that you look up to, you go seek advice from,
Sure.
talk about random shit throughout the day. And it's fun because when you have that friend that you can go to at any given moment, at any given time, talk about anything, it feels grateful that you feel better about yourself in hindsight.
Sure.
And the last F is family. You have your parents, you have your siblings, you have cousins, and you want to be respectful to your elders. You want to show love to your parents. You want to give them the opportunity that they raised you well. You have your brothers and sisters that you can go to the same way you can go to as best friends, you know?
Right.
You have your cousins maybe first cousins that you consider your brother or sister, you know? But the 3 Fs is one. The second thing is sports and wrestling. Obviously, we're a predominantly sport and wrestling podcast. Sports, changed my life because I grew up watching baseball first. I ended up watching football, basketball, hockey. I pretty much watch any sport that seems necessary. And it's fun because I used to play baseball. I wish I played a lot more, and I'm thankful for it because I made a lot of friends throughout the years because of it. Wrestling, I grew up watching wrestling. I used to watch wrestling with my uncle, with my dad. He still watches it from time to time. I remember back when I was younger, I was never afraid of The Undertaker. I was never afraid of the Boogeyman. But you know who I was afraid of? Fucking Edge. I remember, to this day, my mom is like, whenever she sees Edge on the TV, she's like, yo, is that E-D-G-E? I was like, you mean Edge? She was like, yeah. Like, you used to be scared of him when you were younger?
Out of all people, Edge.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just something about his look when he was younger. It was just like that, had that devilish look on his face and stuff like that. But sports and wrestling for sure. And the last thing that I'm thankful for is I'm thankful that we're going into the year of 2026. 2025, I learned a lot about myself. I learned that I can be the best person that I can be in terms of family, friends. But it was a learning lesson throughout I'm not going to touch upon the details. But going into 2026, it's great because if you look at it from like a holiday standpoint, a lot of the holidays next year, they're all on Fridays. So if you work Monday through Friday, be thankful because you're getting your Fridays off.
This year was really good with holidays too.
Yeah, but I got to work on Fridays, so that kind of sucks. But that's neither here nor there. But I'm hoping that 26 is a great year for all of us. And I'm just generally happy that we're moving on to a new year where we can be better. Obviously, you have your New Year's resolutions, and I'm sure towards the end of the year we'll give ours. But yeah, those are the 3 things I'm thankful for.
All right, and then for me, I'm kind of going to touch up almost kind of the same things as you because it's obvious you can't really mention things that you're not grateful for without mentioning friends and family. So obviously, like Varden pretty much touched upon it all, where it's like friends, you can always you can find them and you can find solid people to basically be there for you, and it always feels like a good solid base for them to, no matter what it is. We can talk about anything personal, anything private, whatever it is. It always once you have friends involved, things always definitely feel like it's just much better. When it comes to family, you have obviously your siblings, you have your parents, and then you have your close family, which is your cousins, first cousins, second cousins. And obviously we're both Bengali, which means that we have a lot of family members.
Too many to count.
Too many to count. Honestly, I feel like I might have more than you two.
Probably.
So it's like I have a lot of outlets to go to talk about anything and whatever it is. But once you feel like those people are there for you and make it feel apparent, nothing feels better than that when you have a safe space to go to. Next thing, obviously, is sports and wrestling. We're a predominantly sports and wrestling podcast. This is what we talk about. This is things that we love to talk about. And for me, I'm going to add one more thing for me is film, because obviously I'm doing my little thing. We're doing my movie reviews and stuff like that I've always been passionate about. And obviously, like Varden said, we're going to touch up on our resolutions, especially on the podcast or whatever it is in our future that we want to talk about. That's sports, wrestling, and even film-based. But it's going to be great. It's going to be exciting to talk about, especially with sports and wrestling. In my opinion, have been getting more and more interesting year by year. So let's see how it goes. And then the last thing I want to talk about is, with Varden talking about going on to 2026, I'm going to talk about reflecting on 2025. So this year was a big year for me. There was a lot of things that happened. Like I said, I'm not going to go into details.
We traveled a lot.
I had a lot of life experiences, a lot of life personal relationships, whatever it may be. It's been big up and down, and it's been great. I'm grateful for it all because obviously I learned a lot from it, no matter if it's highs or lows. But it's things that you continue to build yourself upon. And life is super unpredictable. And that's what kind of 2025 has shown to me. I kind of started this year off with having no expectations. Just trying to live my life as a 25-year-old and see exactly what is life planned for me, because him and me always talked about it, like when you think and you always hit the age of like 25 to 26, you want to try to have your life figured out or start to like lead to that path.
At least understand what you want to do with
For sure. And I know it's like you're older than me too, but the thing is, like, for me, seeing what you, obviously the things you've done, and also like it's a blueprint of what I can do to try to be better as well. So obviously I take that into very great appreciation, but I learned a lot from this year, and I'm grateful for it because, you know, you can't do better for yourself without learning experiences and gaining knowledge of what to do next time and how to be better on it.
Yeah, you learn something new every day pretty much.
Yeah, and I'm grateful for all of that. But that kind of wraps up the 3 things that we've both been really grateful for this year. And I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
For sure.
And thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week on our next episode. Peace.